Hey, big baby, we back at it, man. It's your favorite family member. You know what I'm talking about, though, man. You know what they call me, the voice of the people, big baby. I speak for the people, man. I speak for my peoples, your peoples, our peoples, big baby. Do you hear what I'm talking about? Happy Friday, man. You know what I'm talking about? You wasn't there. Volume 9. We're back at it, big baby. The podcast, you feel me? KIU in this thing, man. Keep it up. Knowledge, insight, and understanding, man. And we just trying to bring you some substance, man. Speak for the people, speak for the masses, man. Do you hear what I'm talking about? And we're going to represent it. You know what I mean? Always at its fullest. Do you hear me, big baby? Yeah, man. Shout out to Drum Machine printing on the banner, man. You know what I mean? And hating is a weakness, man. Don't participate in all that hating, man. It ain't good for you, big baby. It ain't good for you, man. It's bad for your health, man. Hating is a weakness and jealousy is a disease, man. Do you hear what I'm saying, big baby? That's what I'm talking about, though, man. Shout out to Kirkwood Company, man. You know what I'm talking about? Go look them up on Instagram, man. Thank you for the sweater, man. This podcast is brought to you by Kirkwood Corporations, big baby. You feel me? The big homie, man. You understand me? Real stand-up individuals, man. They got me feeling nice and snug as a bug in a rug. Do you hear me, big baby? We in this thing, man. You know what I mean? We trying to do something different, man. We trying to motivate and push the culture forward. I am the voice of the people. I represent San Francisco, California, the Yay area. Do you hear me? West side of the planet, man. Let me get Dwight off me, man. Do you know who Dwight is? Dwight around your lips, big baby. You can't come on here with Dwight. You know what I'm talking about, though? All up in your thing that you trying to do. Do you hear me? Do you hear me, man? All right, man, I'm just saying, man, talk to me, man. You know what I mean? I talk back, man. But anyway, down to the business at hand, man. Today's podcast, we're going to talk about losing someone you love, man. Losing someone that means the world to you. Losing someone that is dear and near to your heart. Not only losing someone, losing a parent, you know, and losing a parent to cancer, because that's what I lost my mother to. With the recent deaths of Kobe Bryant, his daughter, Gigi, rest in peace, and all those beautiful lives that was lost on that helicopter, I just thought it'd be a good time, you know, to share my story, how I lost my mother. I'm also talking about how I lost my aunt, how it affected me, how I pushed through it, and, you know, how to be resilient in tough times. How to pull your bootstraps up and keep moving forward even when you feel like you don't have the strength to do so. Do you hear what I'm saying, big baby? So, I want to say it'll be 12 years in March that my mother has been gone. She died about a week before my daughter's first birthday, my first daughter, Joy Victoria. So, about 11 years ago, my mother was in a halfway house from federal prison. She was getting back on her feet, you know, she was trying to get reacclimated back into the world. She had a lot of high hopes to, you know, get back into society and just, you know, be her best, be a good mother, be a good grandmother, sister, auntie, and just she was just full of life and ready to do everything that she could to get back in society and be an asset to those around her. A lot of people in the San Francisco city, in the Bay Area, a lot of people around the world know my mother. My mother's name was Linda Price. She was a beautiful person, a beautiful soul, a beautiful woman, just an inspiration to everybody around her. Anybody who knew my mother, they knew that if she was with you, if she was in your corner, she wasn't going to let you fall short of your capabilities. She wasn't going to let you give less than the best of yourself, you dig? And she didn't have a problem telling you that not only did she think highly of you, but she wanted the best for you, and she expected you to want the best for yourself as well. Do you hear what I'm saying, big baby? My mother was the type that she had an effect on everybody around her. My friends, she wouldn't let them give less than themselves. If they was going to be around me, if they was going to be my friends, she was going to make sure she motivated them just as much as she motivated me. Her friends, my cousins, her nephews, nieces, anybody that she came in contact with or loved deeply and dearly, she wanted them to be the best that they could be at all times. And she had an innate ability to make everybody feel special. One thing about my mother, most people called her Auntie Linda. she was going to, make you feel great. She was going to take you up under her wing, and when she had some special moments with you, Auntie Linda was going to take you. Y'all was going to go have some lunch. Y'all was going to have a sit down time. You were going to have an intimate moment with Auntie where you knew that she genuinely cared about you. You dig? My mother had me when she was a little bit older, I want to say. So a lot of my cousins, they got to enjoy her and have her to themselves before I came. So when I did come along, a lot of them was kind of upset. I could tell, by the way they should smack me around. My big cousins used to say, "You think you really Auntie Linda kid? Man, Auntie Linda ain't got no kids, fool. You was adopted, man. Auntie Linda ain't never had no kids." This is my big cousin Aladdin would tell me. Now, he's a Jehovah's Witness now, but yeah, I remember that cousin, what you used to tell me when I was little that I was adopted. I had to think for a couple of times. I had to really be like, damn, am I adopted? Damn, did mama... You know what I'm saying? He had me going for a minute. He ain't cool. Yeah, I love him to death, you know what I mean? But them was like my brothers growing up, so they always took care of me. But my mother meant so much to them that even they probably didn't know that they had a little bit of, not animosity towards me, but I was taking away their mother figure. You dig? When they was growing up, the relationship with their mom wasn't the best, my auntie. So my mom was always there for them. My mom was the one bringing Christmas gifts. My mom was the one going to the basketball game. She named all three of my cousins. So my mom was like the one in our family as far as keeping everybody together and the go-getter and the ultimate achiever and all those things. So she always had a special place in the hearts of everybody around her. Now, I didn't even know how much my mother meant to my cousins and even the community. A lot of OG bosses from the city of San Francisco, my mom would pull up on them in Fillmore, Hunters Point, Sunnydale. You know what I mean? It'd be like, "This is my son. This is Juwan. When you see him out, you dig? Keep your eye on him. Make sure you're all right and set his ass straight if he's out of line." You dig? That was the type of person my mother was. She was about community. She was about keeping everybody together, keeping everybody intact, and using resources to make sure that we was all straight and taken care of. You feel me? My mother was the type of person, she used to get that dough. She used to get the bag, you dig, by any means necessary. So my mom might come home from being out of town for 2 weeks and be like, pick 3 friends and we going to Vegas for the weekend. Any of your 3 friends you want to take with you, boom, we going to Vegas. I was like, I thought it was just nothing to just go grab 3 of my partners and be like, "Y'all want to go to Vegas? Ask your mom, can you go to Vegas, bro? We going to Vegas." Mom said she taking us. We'll hop on that plane and go to Vegas for the weekend, man, you know what I mean? And mom's will hand out $100 bills all weekend. I'd be mad because she giving me the same amount that she giving my friends. In my mind, I'm thinking I should get more. Shut up, boy. You know what I'm talking about? Get that boy that $100 and give your other friend $100 and you take $100 and y'all go have fun and don't spend it too fast, knowing we're going to be back in about an hour. You know what I'm talking about, though? But this is the type of person my mom was, and this was a regular occurrence. My mother was also an entrepreneur. She had a Price limousine service. She used to manage artists, all type of different things that I didn't even take into consideration because she was just mom to me, you dig? All these stories about going to Sly Stone's wedding at the Madison Square Garden and just having friends going to OJ's concerts in the Grapevine. I'm sitting having dinner with the Temptations, the OJs, and Levert at a young age, and I didn't know who these dudes was. I knew who they was, but Uncle Eddie from the OJs, that was just Uncle Eddie. It wasn't even nothing to me to go, we sitting up here in the Grapevine having dinner with the OJs and the Temptations, you dig? And I just thought it was a regular occurrence. I'm so silly, so simple, you know what I mean? I didn't know no better. I just thought this is what all kids did when they had dinner and lunch with the Temptations and the OJs. Do you hear me, big baby? Oh, I had to get right, big baby. Get right, big baby. You hear me? But anyway, right? So yeah, my mama was an extraordinary person. Not only was she an extraordinary person, she was my best friend. That was my dog, you feel me? She used to ride my ass like crazy. Pull up on me in Lakeview, man, and try to run me and my friends over for standing on the corner after I told her I was going to act right and be at school like I was supposed to, you dig? She wasn't with me out there selling dope, selling drugs. Even though I did everything in my power to go against her wishes, she was always on me, and God would bring her to me every single time. If I'm out there shooting dice or out there selling crack, excuse my language, but that's what it was, you dig? somehow gotta bring me to my mama every time. I done beat and took a gun out the house. She coming straight to me, you know what I mean? What the fuck, nigga? Going crazy on me, you know what I mean? My mama would assault me out there in the streets of Lakeview, California. I'm talking about jump out and take flight, you dig? Try to run my ass over, throwing shit at me. My mom wasn't no joke, coming and beating the shit, checking me and my cousin Meech, you know what I mean? Even checking my friends. What the fuck is you doing out here? Get your ass in the car. I'm taking you to your mama, you dig? That's the type of individual my mother was, you dig? So, like I said, my mother was did some time in federal prison. She was in the halfway house, and her time in federal prison, she was so disappointed because she felt like she had let me down. Not only did that occur, my first daughter was born while she was in prison. So the first time my mother ever seen my daughter, I brought her into a federal prison facility up in Dublin. Anybody who knows about the Bay Area, they know about Dublin, where Griselda Blanco was at. A whole bunch of bosses, you dig. Dublin was a federal facility, like a camp type of situation that a lot of bosses in the Bay Area went through, and especially women, you dig. I remember going up there to the thing, man. They used to be sitting out there in the front, right? I come through, man, looking like a million, man. You understand me? Moms would come out to the visit and be like, boy, you doing too much. What you talking about, moms? All my friends told me you was here. All the ones that's outside told me, Linda, that's your son? Damn, that's your son? Yeah, man, that's him. You know what I'm talking about? The real big baby. Do you hear me? Yeah, I was coming up there, man. You understand me? This was before my shit started falling. You know what I mean? My shit started. We ain't gonna go there. But anyway, my shit was long, luxurious, man. You understand me? I used to have the dreads, dyed. I'm coming through that thing. You understand me? They was feeling the young boss, man, telling Linda her son was a piece of pizza. Do you hear me, big baby? But anyway, man, yeah. So Moms was highly disappointed that she saw her grandbaby for the first time in federal prison. My mama never got comfortable or never thought that shit was cute, fly, nothing like that. How a lot of people want to take their prison pictures and pose and, you know what I mean, let it be known that they did their time. My mama was embarrassed. She wasn't with that shit. She never thought it was some badge of honor. When they used to give her the little tickets that they get tickets in federal prison, so when they go on a visit and they could get their pictures, my mama never wanted to take a picture in her federal clothes. I'd be like, Mom, you don't want to take? Never. I don't got one picture of my mama when she was in the feds. She wasn't with that shit. That shit wasn't cute to her, and it wasn't nothing to celebrate. She never got accustomed to that federal shit, and that shit aged my mama. You dig? My mama was a fly lady, you dig? What she used to call herself, a shit brick house, man. A brick shit house. That's an old school terminology for thick, or, you understand me, a piece, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? She'd tell me, boy, your mama's a brick shit house, boy. I'd be like, come on, Moms, with all that. You feel me? But anyway, yeah, she never thought that shit was fly or cute or anything about it. So she was very disappointed and highly upset that she saw her grandbaby for the first time. When I brought my daughter in that federal prison and my mom came walking out to that waiting room and she saw her grandbaby, she broke out into tears. You dig? She couldn't believe that she had let the game catch her up to where she wasn't there for her first grandbaby to be born. She wasn't there to be there for the baby shower and all this shit. But the thing about it was, my mama, you know, my aunties and my mama friends, they loved me so much, loved her so much, that the baby shower was amazing. The baby had everything it needed just on the strength of how much people love my mother and how much they love me. So my baby didn't miss nothing at all, but my mama wanted to be there, you dig? So one day, she calls me and she calls me from the hospital. And I'm like, what's up, Mom? What's going on? She's like, well, baby, I was walking, you know what I mean? Every day she was going to do job applications for the halfway house so that she could, you know what I mean, get back in her thing was when she got out of prison, I'm trying to get back to the business of living. Do you hear me? That's all she wanted to do, is get back to the business of living. That was her slogan when she got out the feds. I'm trying to get through with this dumb shit and get back to the business of living, son. And I used to be like, okay, I could dig it. She used to see my friends downtown in the L's, because they halfway house down in the L's. My cousin Bummy, you feel me, and my other friends. I seen Bummy down there on his knees shooting dice with a handful of money. I told him to give me some of the money so I could hold it for him so he wouldn't lose it all back. He you know, he just kept shooting, you know, Bummy, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about, Bum down there getting it in. Until you know what I'm saying? But anyways, So she called me. She said she was short of breath, right? So they take her to general to see, you know what I mean, why she's short of breath, see if maybe, you know, she having some problems with her lungs or some problems with her heart to see what's going on. So when she gets there, they tell her there's some fluid on her lungs. They tell her they want to keep her overnight, you know what I'm saying? Because she was so short of breath, they had to rush her. The ambulance had to come to the halfway house and take her to general. So they told her they found some fluid on her lungs. So she like, you know, son, they got some fluid on my lungs. They said they're going to take it off, you know what I mean, see what's going on and you know, let me up out of here, you dig? So my mother ain't never really had no problems with asthma, bronchitis, no health situations like that. So I'm used to my mama always being healthy. She had a bad car accident one time where she flipped over in the car and just regular life shit, you know what I mean? But that was the closest I seen my mama like in a hospital bed and things like that. So I'm used to my mama being, you know, superwoman. She used to work out, hit the gym. Mama might hop out in a bathing suit somewhere and talking about she trying to get some sun. You get me disrespecting and disregarding my feelings. You know what I mean? My mama would get up on the roof on Cusada Street in a bathing suit and go sunbathe like it was nothing. That was her favorite go-to, you dig? So they run some tests on the fluid, and when the tests come back, they say they found some cancerous cells in the fluid that they took off of my mother's chest. So she calls me. She says, you know, they talking about they found some cancerous cells in that fluid that they took off, baby. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? So at this time, you know, cancer, when you hear that, of course you get a little nervous, you get a little scared or whatever, but, you know, it was just some fluid, so it didn't seem like, you know, it wasn't nothing that serious at the time to me. Or I don't even think to her, you dig? So they take the fluid off, you know what I mean? So now they got to keep her in the hospital at General and run some more tests. They start running more tests, see what's going on, where the fluid is coming from, what's going on. So I guess after a few days, I want to say, they come back and they figure out that it is ovarian cancer. So now it's like, damn, what the fuck? My mama got cancer, you dig? For anybody to hear that type of news, especially in this day and age, it's deflating. It can take everything out of you. It's stressful. Just all those things just to be, just as an understatement. But the good news was, it's ovarian cancer. They take her woman parts out. You know what I mean? She moves forward and we keep on doing our thing. Get back to the business of living like mama said. You feel me? When I go to the hospital while she's there, I'm like, she's like, oh, they want to take out my ovaries. Woo woo. And she kind of sad about it. And me being a dumbass joking, I'm like, well, what you trying to do? Have some more kids? What's going on, mama? It's a little late for that. You dig what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I'm your one and only, big baby, the one, man. You understand me? Voice. You know what I'm talking about? Ayatollah. What else do you need from the world, man? But me, big baby, your son. You hear me? So she like, you know, she crying a little bit, a little tear, a little drop, but nothing too crazy. So she like, you know, they're going to have the ovarian. They're going to take them out. She should be good. Booyah. So fast forward, one day I'm at work calling my auntie Glenda, which was her right hand, her sister, her best friend. It was like 11 months apart. So I never knew how close they was in age until this shit started happening. I thought maybe there's 2-3 years apart. My mom was the type of individual, she was so much vain, she wouldn't tell you how old she was. My mom was 60 years old and I never knew how old she was, you know what I mean? I didn't think she was 50 now, but I'm just saying, my mom was the type of person, she wouldn't let you see her ID. Boy, you don't even know how old I am. Wait a minute, you my mama. What the hell are you talking about, crazy ass lady? So my auntie calls me. She say, you know, they about to do this surgery for your mama and we just gotta pray. So I'm like, what you mean pray, auntie? They gonna take her ovaries out and you know, that's gonna be it. The cancer is gone. She like, boy, you know that cancer done spread all over her stomach. And I'm like, what? I'm like, nah, I didn't know that, auntie. Y'all ain't told me nothing about that. That ain't the update I got. That's not the last news that I got. What you mean it spread? Boy, you know that shit done spread and we just gotta pray. So now I'm flabbergasted. I'm fucked up now. Now shit getting real. I'm like, nigga, what? My mama cancer spread. I'm like, what are you talking about? You dig? I couldn't even understand the words that she said. You know what I mean? So she had been in the hospital for a minute. Now, this is some time has passed, so she did chemo and shit and all that. So I remember going to go see her, and that chemo was eating her alive. She didn't have her, her hair was gone. She was real frail, and since it had spread to her stomach, my mother couldn't use the bathroom. So she was just laying in the bed a lot. So I would make it in my business to bring my daughter up there to see her as much as possible. Any weekend that I could get away, I would go up there without telling her and go put my daughter in the bed with her while she was asleep. My mama would wake up out of her sleep and be like, so elated that I put my daughter there. She wasn't even worried about me. She was just so happy to see Jar. Just it would just give her a little spell of life every time I pulled up and put that baby in the bed with her grandchild, her first grandbaby, her only grandbaby. You dig? So I would do that as much as possible while she was going through chemo and shit. So I remember one time going, and I asked her how she was doing, and she was like, baby, I'm tired. And I knew that what she meant by I'm tired wasn't I'm sleepy. It meant I'm tired of going through this. I'm tired of this fight. I'm tired of this struggle. I'm tired of being helpless. I'm tired of feeling like this. You know what I mean? My mother was tired of going through what she was going through. Basically, she was ready to give up or ready to move forward in the process, meaning, if this is what it was going to be, she was ready to, get this shit over with, you dig? So, now we in the hospital. We go in, and one day the doctor, I guess, had a talk with my mother to let her know that the cancer was terminal. It was moving fast, and it wouldn't be long. You dig? Now, the doctor pulled me and my auntie Glenda, into a room and said, "Can I speak to you guys?" The doctor came in there. He was an OG surgeon from General. I could tell he was, he had been through this. He knew what he was doing. He was experienced. So, I'm pretty sure he had these talks a million times. And, he told us, listen, the cancer is terminal. It has spread all through her stomach. The tumors are everywhere. She may have 6-7 days at the most to live. If she does lose consciousness, she's decided she doesn't want to be revived. That's her wishes. Boom, boom, boom. He hitting us with all this shit at the same time. Me and my auntie look across the table at each other like, my auntie look at me, I look at her like, like with a conversation without a conversation, basically. You dig what I'm saying? Like, we didn't damn near talk, but we ain't said one word. Like, we probably said, oh my God, I can't believe this. This shit is crazy. What are we going to do? All with our eyes. You dig? We didn't say all this without saying a word to each other. You dig? A full conversation without one word. So the doctor looks at me and he says, it's going to take somebody from your generation to figure this out. Now, in literal terms, I would have thought he meant somebody, if I knew somebody or some shit. Nah, but what he was saying was, this shit is so complicated. This cancer thing is so crazy that somebody his age, doctors that are his age, they're not going to be able to figure this out. They don't have enough time in life. It's going to take somebody young, somebody vigorous, somebody with with just super smart, super intelligent to figure out what it takes to counteract this thing that they call cancer, you dig? You know what I mean? And he was speaking from his heart. He was telling me how he felt outside of what was going on, you dig? So my mama was so strong, so stand up, so much of a warrior, a soldier, right? She never had no conversation with me or my auntie. Well, I don't know what her and my auntie talked about, but she never had no conversation with me like, well, son, this is it. Or, baby, I love you, and, we ain't going to go no further. And, or just one of those movie script ass conversations. It was never that. She understood her. She understood her fate. She faced what she had in front of her, and she left it at that. It wasn't no need to drag my emotions into it. It wasn't no need for us to have some crying out ass moment when it was what it was, and she wanted me to be strong to move forward. You dig what I'm saying? She didn't want to have that old TV moment where it's like, I love you so much, and nigga, you know I love you. You know what I want for you. You know what you got to do. Take care of this baby. You know what's up. We ain't got to have that moment. You know what I mean? I've told the doctor my wishes, and that's it. And whatever little time we got left, let's enjoy it. So now my grandmother has flew out from Texas. We flying everybody out that we can. That I'm calling my pops. You know what I mean? And everybody that I love, to let them know, man. Listen, my mama's about to go, and if you want to see her, if you love her, whatever, you know what I mean. My auntie Pat was there every day. Me and my auntie was there every day. Now my auntie Pat would come in there and take the hemp oil, hemp lotion, and rub my mother's whole body from head to toe to make her feel comfortable, to make her, you know what I mean, just have a moment of relaxation on top of whatever she was taking and going through. You know what I mean? That real love, that shit that you can't buy, that shit that you can never get around. You dig what I'm talking about? So those 7 days, right? I would go home to my grandmother's house every day. Me and my grandmother, my auntie, and we would come back the following day and stay with my mom all day long. She was having a lot of visitors and shit like that. And the nurses, they loved her. They loved her personality, the type of spirit my mother was. It was infectious. So she didn't have to be around you a long time for you to fall in love with her, you dig? So I remember on the last day of my mother's life, it was maybe a week before my daughter's birthday. So we come there. One of her good friends, her high school sweetheart, Pee Wee Newbie. I love you, Pee Wee. He was in the hospital with us. Me, my grandmother, my daughter, you dig? And my mom was calling all that day. Are y'all coming? When are y'all coming? I remember the doctor telling us, y'all probably want to get down here. But I remember my mom calling. Now, my grandmother, she had errands. We running around trying to get shit in order and different shit, Oh, let me rewind a little bit. So they was going to do an operation on my mom's stomach so that they could loosen up her bowels so that she could at least be a little bit more comfortable, because that fluid was filling. She hadn't used the bathroom, right? This was one of the hardest moments of the whole thing. So my mama knew she was terminal, but before she was terminal, the talks was they're gonna do an operation to take her ovaries out to take the cancer out, right? So after they opened her up to make her more comfortable, she had kind of forgot the conversation and what actually was occurring and how serious it was. So when she woke up out of her slumber, she looked at me and she said, "Baby, how did it go? Did everything go okay? Did they get the cancer out? Am I going to be okay?" That was one of the hardest fucking moments of my life, because my mama had forgot that she was dying and that she wasn't going to be okay. You dig? She had forgot for that brief moment. You know what I'm talking about? And I had to look my mother in the eyes and tell her, "Yeah, everything went good, mama. Everything was all right. Everything gonna be all right." You dig? And that wasn't the truth. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't going to go into all the extra shit because there wasn't no need to it. I had to be strong. And even before she woke up, we wasn't even sure she would come back to consciousness. So I had a moment where I was sniveling and crying, and my mother was out of it, but she saw it. So when she came back too, she's so much of a soldier. "Yeah, nigga, I seen you crying with your snotty nose." You know what I'm talking about? That's how moms got at me, you dig? And I was just like, you know what? Linda Price, you something else, lady, you dig? So by the time we get to the hospital on the last day, my mother, she ain't got no more talking in her. You dig? She on her last little bit of strength. You know what I'm talking about? It ain't that much left, you dig? So I remember it was March Madness. My daughter's birthday is March 24th. So it's basketball games on. So when we finally, now my mama was calling us earlier that day. Now by the time we got there, she didn't have no more words left in her. So when I asked her, when she come, when I get there, I kiss her or whatever, and she's tapping on the TV, like telling me, I guess, to change it. This is what I took. So I changed the TV a couple times. She, nah, tap it again. Basketball came on. She put her hand down. Now basketball is my favorite sport. Basketball is how we bonded. Basketball is how she used to come see me and celebrate me and watch me. So in my mind, it was kind of like her saying, you know, this is what I want to see last or whatever. You know what I mean? It's the last thing that I want to be a part of. So just put some basketball on. So I remember my daughter was running around like crazy. She damn near won. So my auntie and my grandmother was outside of the room chasing my daughter around. So just me and Pee Wee was in the room. The nurse came in, and I'm looking at my mother, and I'm kind of seeing her still, and her mouth is open. And when a person is losing their life to cancer, those breaths get shorter and shorter and shorter as they go. You know what I mean? So I knew the life had left from my mother's body. You dig? So the nurse came in, and I said, "Can you check on my mother? Can you check her to see?" And the nurse said, Miss Price, a little Filipino lady. And my mother has such an effect. This lady's a professional. She's doing what she's supposed to do. She has so much of an effect on this woman. This woman knew my mother was gone. And she, oh, let me get the doctor. She's okay, let me get the doctor. I could tell that she knew my mother was gone. So the doctor came in. He flashed the light in my mom's eyes, and he said, Miss Price. And I guess when he flashed that flashlight in there, he knew that my mother had transcended. She had passed on to the next life. He reached up on my mother's face and put his hands over her eyes and closed her eyelids. Now, even though I knew the life was gone and I spotted it and I kind of seen it first, when that man reached up on my mother and put her eyes closed, reality hit me. Like, boy, your mother is gone. That beautiful woman that you loved so much, that meant so much to you, that gave you life, she is no longer here. And the breath came out of me. I was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like, even as much as I've been preparing for it, for these days and waiting for this moment, I was just like, fuck. So I got up and walked out the room. My aunties and my grandmother was down the hall chasing my daughter. And I kind of stormed out. My auntie was calling me. I was like, just give me a moment, auntie. I'm all right. So I went outside General, you feel me? Went out there to the parking lot. And I just screamed to the top of my lungs, like, fuck, you know what I mean? Just let that shit out of me, you dig? And it had been weird, dreary and cold all them days, but I want to say my mama passed on a Friday. That Friday was one of the most beautifulest days out of that whole week, for whatever reason, you know what I mean? Clear skies, it was warm, it was a beautiful fucking day. And I let that shit out, went back up in that room. My auntie and my grandmother was in there, you know what I mean? We gave her kisses, said our last goodbyes or whatever, gathered ourselves and got up in that car and drove back to Lakeview from General. One of the quietest moments we've ever had, you dig? Wasn't no words. We was all just in that car, just quiet, I guess, all reflecting on how much she meant to us and all the moments that we shared. My grandmother lost her daughter. My auntie lost her sister and best friend. I lost my mother, you dig? And it was one of the quietest rides I've ever had in my life. You know what I mean? Just all three of us in there. Probably my daughter fell asleep. Now, when your shit ain't in order, when you ain't prepared for life and shit to happen, you ain't got no money put up. My mother was a hustler, but she didn't have no money put up for this moment. She just had got out the feds. So now Not only are we grieving and going through the loss of this beautiful woman, we got to figure out how the fuck we going to pay the burial, you dig? Where we going to get the money? Casket, 10,000. To rent the motherfucking obituary, to rent the mortuary costs money. To rent the church costs money. To make the fucking obituaries cost money, man. You know what I'm saying? This is all the things you got to think about when you lose your loved one. On top of you just lost somebody you love. You dig? It's a lesson for anybody. Have your shit straight. You know what I mean? Life insurance. Put something to the side. Do something so that the grieving process for the ones you leave behind is not so hard, not so strenuous. You dig? So, not only am I dealing with this, trying to figure out about my mom, my daughter's birthday is in 4 or 5 days, 6 days. You dig? Her first birthday. You dig? So everybody asks me, what we gonna do for Jai's birthday? I'm like, birthday? I don't want to celebrate shit. You dig? I love my daughter, of course, but I can't celebrate and grieve at the same damn time. You dig what I'm saying? So, my grandmother was waiting on a big check that was coming in, just God's graces. She had some money coming in, but we had to wait for that money to come through. So, my mother owned a limousine service. Lewis and Ribs in Hunters Point knew my mother. Not only did they grow up with my mother, but they had worked with my mother. That man looked at me and said, your mother was my friend. You dig? But this ain't on your grandmother. This ain't on your auntie. You sign this paper saying you're going to make sure I get this money and we're going to bury your mother. We ain't got to wait for no money. You dig? Because I loved her so much and she was so much of a stand-up woman. But I'm putting this on you. I ain't putting it on your grandmama and your auntie. You dig? Your word. Your signature. You dig? So I signed my name on the dotted line saying that he would have that money. 10,000 or whatever it was, 14,000 or whatever it was. Now just, picking caskets for somebody you love, picking pictures out to put in the obituary. All that shit is no joke. That shit is real, man. That shit will affect your psyche. But if my mother could be strong enough to face her death, face her fate, without shedding a tear, without having some old drawn out fake ass conversation, without being a sucker about it, how could I handle it but nothing but some character, some honor, some integrity? You dig? Like a stand-up young man that she raised. One thing about losing somebody, right, that you love, the best thing you could do is live in their honor. You dig? Live how they would want you to live and carry on their legacy in a proper manner. That's how you honor somebody that you lose. You live how they would want you to live. Me taking care of my daughter, me making a promise to her that my daughter wouldn't miss nothing, that I wouldn't miss one day in her life, that I would continue my mother's legacy of taking care of the community, of taking care of my family, of being a good man and staying my ass out of jail, out of prison, and from doing dumb shit. Do you hear me, big baby? That's how you carry on, you feel me? That's how you move forward when you lose somebody you love. You live how they would want you to live, big baby. You hear what I'm talking about? That's the best way you can honor somebody that you love. I love you, mama, you dig it. And I've been trying to keep it up and stay focused ever since. You hear what I'm talking about? If you get anything from this story, make sure your shit is straight before you die so everybody else don't have to take care of it for you. When you love somebody, you honor their wishes. You honor what they would want and what they ask for. You dig? Carry on with strength. Push forward. It's going to be hard, but you got to keep going. You got to keep living. You have to learn how to live life even without them, man. Because that's what they would want you to do if they genuinely love you. You dig? And 9 times out of 10, you know their wishes. You know what they would want for you. You know how they want you to proceed. In their honor, that's what you do. Do you hear me, big baby? So, yeah, man. If you ever lost somebody, if you ever lost a parent, if you ever lost somebody to cancer, man, I know that you can relate to this story. I know that you can relate to what I'm trying to get across, you know what I mean? If you're going through it right now, you feel me? Hopefully this can help you to move forward and do it as best as you can, man. Life goes on, man. Here I am still standing, you dig? One of the hardest moments in my life, it didn't break me. It made me stronger. It made me more resilient. It made me honor friendships, honor relationships, and made me value the people that I love even more, man, and love even harder. So it's some light at the end of the tunnel, you dig? You just got to reach for it. You just got to find it. And you just got to find the strength to push forward, big baby. If you never lost somebody you love, if you never lost a parent, a family member, if you never lost somebody to cancer and had to manage and had to keep moving forward and do the best that you can to honor them and their legacy, you wasn't there, big baby. KIU, man. Thank y'all for tuning in, man. Like, subscribe, share these videos. Hopefully it'll help somebody get through something, man. And if ain't nobody told you they love you in a long time, man, I love you, big baby. I love you because you're here watching me. I love you because you're a human being. You're probably one of my family members or friends. And even if you're a stranger, man, I hope you get something out of this, man. KIU, big baby. Keep it up. KIU, knowledge, insight, understanding. You wasn't there, the podcast. KI.